But it's a big thing. I had a man come in here on Friday. I'm sorry, no, yesterday morning it was, from Edmonton. He had run out of a few products, and within a week he said, you know, I could feel already something was wrong. And I had pointed out that he had a problem with his pyloric valve, which is the base of the stomach. I found that he had a problem with his ileocecal valve. And both of those valves will function according to the pH balance in the body. When I found the weaknesses and I put the program together that he was originally on, gave it to him, held it in the container, it fixed the 2 spots that were in trouble. It just because he'd run out of the products, it was there. So it's kind of exciting to see that I didn't have to give him any more additional supplementation.
All right, well, check that out, Elaine. You know, with your naturopath there, to see if perhaps, again, it's not being absorbed properly, it's not the right kind of glucosamine, perhaps?
One of the things maybe I should mention, Elaine, too, is that most often, according to our understanding, that an amoebic infection is a big part of all arthritic tendencies, according to Dr. Bill Nelson. There's an amoebic infection that actually eats up the synovial fluid that keeps the joints lubricated.
An amoebic infection? What is that
We
exactly?
have a product called Amoebitox that will actually get rid of the amoebic infection that causes some of these arthritic tendencies. And Dr. Brimhall, or Dr. Nelson says that all arthritic conditions, he says he blames them on parasitic infestation and also amoebic infection.
Yeah, and there are parasites in our blood. We all have them to some degree. I've actually seen them on your blood analysis microscope. But you know, if you get an overabundance of these, they start actually eating the nutrients that you need. It's very interesting. You're feeding parasites, and you've got to get rid of these. Yeah. All right, let's go to Shirley's call from Saskatchewan. You're on the air with Robert Kish. Go ahead.
Good morning. How are you?
Great.
Good, thanks.
I have a condition called low blood sugar, hypoglycemia.
Yep.
And I was wondering if there's anything I could do to eliminate it totally or to keep it under control.
Okay.
I, in the office, do use a product called amino acids, and I have different products called Vanachrome, different pancreas supports. It's Shirley, is it? Yes. And
yes.
Those are some of the best things that we have found to work with balancing blood sugar. And
can I order those from you?
We do have them. Again, some of the things we look at, Shirley, is that we may give you a product that if your body is not ready to utilize it, you won't get the benefit. And this is what I'm trying to emphasize, that you got to find out where your body chemistry is so that you will utilize the product once you do take it. There's too many people who don't understand that. Matter of fact, what they're teaching is that anybody that's doing this and doesn't understand the principles of clinical kinesiology and the muscle testing response is literally guessing on what the person's needs are.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, I could say to you, yes, glucose or
it may help, it may not.
It may help and it may not help.
Right.
So it's a big part of getting everything right.
Sure. And if you want some more, by all means, we'll put the number up on the screen as well. If you do want to give Bob a call there, you can certainly do that, and he can give you more detail on what you need to do to find out what's wrong there, Shirley. But apparently it does work in some cases there, all right, balancing out the blood sugars. So thanks for that. And again, just call that number tomorrow, because Margot and Robert won't be back till tomorrow. To take your calls on that, all right? So, okay, Marge, we're going to get to your call next. I did want to say, you know, real quick, too, that you do a computer analysis, which is interesting, and I think we even have some footage of that. It's fascinating, though, this computer, you know, you basically some, you know, probes that are attached to your head, your fingers, and your wrists, and it's amazing, actually, what it does spot. For example, I mean, I'm a diabetic. You know, my pancreas doesn't work. It, you know, the computer didn't know that, but it picked it up right away.
That's right.
You know, it's amazing. Yeah.
A lady the other day came in with food sensitivities, and the first thing that came up on the computer out of 5,000 pieces of information was ADAX, which was used for that we use for people who are sensitive to food additives, and that was her main concern. So yeah, it even
detects emotions, for example, and it's actually fairly accurate.
Many people say, I don't know if I want to know all that information. No, the computer gathers and organizes approximately 5,000 pieces of information off the body in about 2.5 minutes. And that information, I use that information to see where my potential weaknesses are within the system. It's going to identify the digestive system, hormonal system, immune system, lymphatic system, circulatory system. It's going to show me, using a range of numbers, what organs are in trouble. So when I go to the microscope, I look at the blood in the microscope, I see if I can match it there. Then I will go into clinical kinesiology to find out when can I fix these points. In other words, there's the initial health scan, and if we go through the initial health scan and fix the first things first on the body to make sure that this body is in total balance, whatever the condition is, it will take care of.
And again, a lot of what you're aiming for is things like the pituitary gland, adrenal glands, things like that, the lymphatic system that controls, really the control center for much of the body.
Exactly, yep.
And you want to fix that first, and then the other things often will clear up, right?
That's right, you bet.
So, okay, let's take Marge's call from Alberta. Hi, Marge.
Wonderful program.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations on this one today.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. One being treatment for fibromyalgia, chronic pain, and spinal nerve condition. Also, would colloidal silver be part of your treatment? And I don't know, this might be non-professional, but then again, probably a lot of us are asking, what is the cost of all of this?
That's a great
sure
question.
It's covered by Alberta Healthcare.
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely.
Wow.
So a couple of angles there. First of all, the fibromyalgia and the colloidal silver, is that's going to help, and then the cost of all of this. Yeah,
Exactly. With the fibromyalgia, the first thing we would want to do is to correct the diet, correct supplementation, whatever supplementation is needed for that program, and do a lot of detoxifying. The system is dumping toxins to the point that you may have 11 out of the 18 points on your body that are all tender to touch, and basically it's due to accumulation of toxins within the body. So once we start to detox using, pardon me, certain things like the foot bath and the different products we can use for detoxification.
Well, that foot bath, by the way, I tried this the other day, so I don't know if we're going to show some of the. Yeah, okay, there we go. You mean, look at that. This is coming out of this lady's feet.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't quite that bad, but it was a rust color though, and there was like little flakies floating in there.
Exactly.
I'm thinking, man, I actually did feel better after it. So, I guess we all build up toxins in our body.
Exactly, and even with the foot bath, there are people out there that are using the foot bath, but there is also a bit of caution here, because if a person has been on antidepressant type medication, on a foot bath cleansing, you want to be very, very careful on the length of time that you will detoxify that person, because you can suck out those toxins from the antibiotics so fast that you will have a person that could be in trouble.
Could be sick for weeks.
Yeah, because of the amount of toxicity being pulled out too fast. So whenever I do that with the person, I'll always ask through clinical kinesiology the amount of minutes can I put the person through the foot bath? Can I use the laser? And the frequencies it's all clinical testing through clinical kinesiology.
All right, again, which is more controversial, and I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to say yea or nay to that, but I'll leave it out there.
Cost-wise?
Did you, so yeah, colloidal silver.
Colloidal silver, we have used colloidal silver. It's been very, very helpful.
It has, okay.
The thing is, again, cost-wise, that's what we're trying to say here, too, is that if we can balance the body chemistry faster, quicker, better, your program and going on to maintenance will happen faster. And anything less than that is going to take forever to get.
So it is expensive, though, isn't it? Though I mean, the reality is, because basically, well, a lot of if you have insurance through your employer, for example, in some cases the insurance will cover visits, right?
The visits, but not usually the supplementation.
The supplements, right?
So we had, I forget how many we have now, but 20 or 30 insurance companies that will cover first visits, plus the following up visits, but.
They won't cover the supplements.
They won't cover.
And that, of course, can add up. There's no two ways about it.
And it will add up. So that our thoughts here is that we'd like to get people back on track within 3 months, because it'll take at least 60, 90, 120 days before all of those cells will reproduce themselves in a healthy state.
So typically,
if
this
they
is going
do
to take a few
everything,
months. Yeah.
and if we do everything right for them, and if they do all the right things, it'll happen a lot faster, quicker.
Right. But now, unfortunately, and again, it's interesting that the government, of course, doesn't cover these sort of things. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean, expense-wise. Sorry, have we still got our caller there, Marge? Or, she's
yes,
gone?
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah. What do you think, Marge? I mean, it is pretty expensive, some of this stuff. There's no two ways about it.
Well, it's very expensive, especially if you're sick. Where do you get the funds from? If you're, if you're on low income, how does one manage? Is there something that we can do on our own? Do you have, can we get well when we can't afford it?
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what we have also suggested at times, and we try to help as much as we possibly can too, but we have asked many people to go to their churches and see if they can somehow help in some cases.
I mean, it's true. In some cases, people will help one another that way. I mean, another thing, of course, we could do is petition the government. That's, one guy's doing this. I don't know if he's, very interesting article I've got here. It's actually a Buddhist fella who's challenging the Income Tax Act because he feels it's discriminatory because he cannot deduct the cost of alternative medical treatments. He can't even have a tax deduction on it. And he cites the Buddhist belief that illness is caused by getting out of harmony with nature and cured by restoring that harmony. So he's, taking this up on a religious grounds. Quite interesting. But, I mean, I'm not Buddhist. However, I think, perhaps our government could be more friendly toward alternative health treatments and at least give a tax break on it, if nothing else. And hopefully at some point, maybe even covering some of these treatments would be very, very good. Yeah, Marge, I'm not sure what the answer is there because reality is, I mean, if doctors, for example, if the government didn't cover them through our health system, let's face it, if we had to pay out of our own pocket, they'd be even more expensive probably than most naturopaths because you've got to pay, I mean, they've got to pay for the equipment, they've got to pay for the supplements, they've got to pay for their time, their education, those kinds of things. So, I don't have a problem with naturopaths charging good dollars because it's costing them good dollars as well to get all the things, all that expertise and all the equipment in place.
And that's why, pardon me, and that's why we really feel that it's so important that if people could understand how important it is to balance the body chemistry above all things. The condition, again, to us that really means nothing. You take care of the body balance the body chemistry, the condition, the body will take care of the condition.
Yeah, you're not treating the condition, you're treating the body, really.
Exactly.
To get rid of the condition.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks for that, Marge. Karen, you're next from Ontario. First, let's take a quick look at a religious perspective. Rabbi Stephen Zaltzman asked if Judaism is encouraging followers to take any preventative health measures or even prayer preparation in the case of a possible flu pandemic, which could be coming. Here's his response.
Judaism, in its legal system, takes and has many measures which are designed to ensure health, such as washing of hands before meals, bathing, and caring for one's body. There are no specific preventative health measures that we can suggest as Jews that would be different from what scientists perhaps urge us to do in order to stay clean and to stay away from situations where we can become ill. So prayer as such, as I indicated, is not for us a preparation for flu pandemic. Prayer for us is a way of communing with God, of talking to God, and of asking for the wisdom to solve the problems of the world, including the problem of the possible flu pandemic. We only hope and pray that God will give wisdom to our scientists and to those who, in fact, are doctors and healthcare officials, that they will have and find the wisdom to prevent this terrible possibility of a flu pandemic. In that regard, prayer would be a wonderful thing, and we do use prayer in that way.
All right, certainly prayer is a big part of it, and it's interesting to note, of course, in this case, the naturopath at hand would be glad to pray with you over some of these issues as well, because they are believers, so nice to have that. And again, if we can get the number up on the screen there, if you do have any questions on, and I know we're not going to get to all the calls here today, so I do want to put the number up. They'd be glad to take your calls tomorrow, all right, at that number. Not today, but tomorrow when they get back to Calgary. All right, you can fire away those questions for naturopath Robert Kish. Let's go to Karen's call from Ontario. Hi, Karen.
Hi, I have four quick questions. On that note,
four
where the
questions.
rabbi was just talking, how do you feel about immunization for children today, and how does that come into play with when you're Christian? Because I'm struggling with that with my granddaughter right now.
It's a good question, yeah.
Like she's supposed to have some updated needles, and I'm not sure how, my...
Yeah, because immunization seems to help in many cases. For example, polio isn't around much anymore, right? So on the other hand, we do hear reports of immunization having some negative effects down the road and some adverse reactions in some people. I personally have stayed away from them with our children, but what's your thought on that?
As a matter of fact, one of the things is that we are working with programs to desensitize people from the vaccination, and that is a year process, pardon me, and you have to start on a specific day of the month work it for 5 days prior to the 15th and followed by the next 10 days, and you do that faithfully for the next 12 months to detoxify a person, because you can't detoxify too fast also when you do this work.
But you're saying immunization does put toxins in your body?
Well, that's what we're being taught by everybody that teaches us, and we're to say that, gee, if it was mine, I don't know if I would do that.
Okay,
so it's a tough thing
caution
to.
people not
It's
to,
very hard
generally
for me
speaking.
to say, yeah.
Okay, although again, obviously it's a personal decision we're all going to have to make one way or the other.